everybody, Dan John here for danjohnuniversity.com. Listen, if you tag me on something in social media and I see it, I feel it's my duty as an instructor and teacher to either go, that looks good, or that is not good. Very often people will tag me, and it's fine if you're just a normal person training, you tag me and you have bad technique, almost universally I get a thank you back, you know? So for example, many of you will tag me when you do kettlebell swings like this, and I'll say, well, that's not a swing. More famously, the guy who thought he was a real badass, who said I did the 10,000 swing challenge. And I know I'm going to exaggerate, but not by much. And his 10,000 swing challenge, it looked like this. And he used some huge weight and bragged about what a freaking study was. The bigger issue is when fitness professionals, and I did the air quotes thing, will do an exercise and they are modeling, instead of modeling hinging, which is where the butt goes back and the hamstrings take everything, they do a thing I call folding, like we fold a towel. And very often you'll see them doing an exercise, you know, follow me, I'm doing this exercise, and they'll get to this position here and then fold and put all the load into the lower back, which, by the way, probably can handle it. Can the lower back handle 10,000 reps? I don't know. So one of the exercises I use to teach folding, now we'll just go through the basics here real quick, is of course when I teach the hinge position and the squat, I start padded on the ground, knees, and all we do here, what we're doing is we're cutting out the ankles here, and really we're cutting out the knees, is we go here and we push the butt back, snap up, push the back back, snap up, back, snap up. Now, is that a squat or a hinge? The answer, of course, is yes. And then when we move up to the hinge and the squat, this position remains the same. The relationship of the knees changes. But there's a very, very, very interesting, simple, wonderful exercise that's a mobility exercise and a stretch and a teacher of what a fold feels like versus a hinge. Same position. I'm bringing my right leg up. Okay, everyone recognizes, okay, time for Dan John's hip flexor stretch. He's going to bore us about keeping the butt cheek tight, about keeping the head high. Right, this is all true. I'm going to bore you again. I'm going to be in the 90 position here. I'm in the 90 position there. I'm in the 180 position here. I'm going to stay tall. The harder I push my big toe on the ground, the more stretch I'll get on my hip flexor that you can't see for a good reason. And that's a great exercise. But here's the follow-up. I'm just going to stick that leg out a little farther this time. And what I'm going to do, and I think it really helps to do the standing long jump motion with the arms. Hands are here, and now I'm hinging back into a hamstring stretch. I'm hinging back into a hamstring stretch. And you'll notice, for those of you watching, you'll notice what a huge bend I still have in my knee doing the hamstring here. And you might say, well, is that stretching the hamstring? I look over and I go, yeah, you idiot. I can feel that stretching. Because the hinge properly engages the hamstring. What happens with many people is this. When they do a hinge, I'm properly engaging my hamstring. I'm turning into a bow and arrow. But then you get to here, and then you just turn everything off and go. That's no longer a hinge. That's what I call a fold. Remember, and this is important, this is a little trick I use at my certs. Flexibility, for the most part, is a neurological trick. I hate it when people tell me they have great hamstring flexibility, because almost by definition, that's interesting. Hamstring flexibility and ankle flexibility, you can disagree with me all you want on this. Great athletes tend to have very little of both. Because what you want to have here is all that power goes into the ground and action reaction. If I have great flexibility, and it dissipates. Here's a little trick for you to do at home, folks. Test your forward toe touch, okay? We'll just go like this. Oh, I can touch the ground. Now, I take my fists together. I squeeze my knees together as hard as I can. Stand up, and I touch, and you'll see I go miles forward. At my last cert in New York City, the person had a change in seconds of this much. They had this much more, whatever you want to call that, reach, because it's certainly not flexibility, because it's just a neurological trick. So that little hamstring drill I showed you, let's review it real quick. It is the hip flexor stretch position. Come out a little farther here on the heel. I strongly recommend you go hinge, plank, hinge, plank, and feel those hamstrings. And then do a set where you hinge and then just let the upper body go into the fold. The most common mistake I see online with, and I'm going to put air quotes if I have to, fitness professionals, is that they fold their hinges. And by the way, if your competition calls for you to get into a position you have to fold, you fold, because it's your competition. But for training, folks, hinge. I'm Dan John from danjohnuniversity.com. Thank you so much, and we'll talk again soon.